Well, we all know what happened Sunday, and I'm not going to go into a lot of that right now. The ineptitude of the Secret Service is beyond description. They had hiring restrictions. They had a mandate where they were going to add at least 30% females to the mix, and the director is a political appointee. She's a female, and I'll let you do your own interpretations on that. When you hire people for quotas rather than skills, and we have seen that in the past, but I want to talk about the elephant in the room that no one's talking about. And there is an elephant in the room, and of course it's the shooter. We're talking about Generation Z, or Gen Z. He was a Gen Z person. You may not be familiar with Gen Z. I became very familiar with them in a couple of ways. One, in an academic way, believe it or not, and for the past year, going on servers and YouTube or whatever. If you don't know about them, Gen Z people were born between 1997 and 2012. The age group is 12 to 27 years old. The shooter in the assassination attempt of former President Trump was 20 years old. They grew up with internet. Unlike any other generation, they were really exposed to it, particularly with the COVID virus restrictions and all. They also are very specialized in portable digital technology. They're basically electronic nerds. The COVID pandemic significantly impacted their lives to the negative detriment part. The education was limited, was restricted, isolated. They were isolated at home for 2 years, maybe longer. The college enrollment was down compared to other generations. Their social lives were pretty much non-existent. Became loners, so to speak. Career goals were affected. Well-being, mental well-being, grossly affected. Half of them, the ones that are workable, job age, were unemployed, or they knew somebody in their family that was unemployed, or they or their family members had cuts in pay. So economically, they were affected. And this is, I think, part of the reason why you see this war between the young and the old anymore. A lot of young ones I've seen bitch and moan about the old people with the Social Security and that kind of stuff, Won't get into that too much. I want to concentrate on this Gen Z issue. As I said, the mental health was really grossly affected. Stress on the well-being. That's just a brief scenario of the issue with Gen Z. My wife added things, so we were talking about this yesterday. What were you saying about their behavior, their lack of morals, or?
Yeah, basically, they were, like you said, they were isolated. They had no one to go to. They were simply stuck at home. If they had the money, they were simply on YouTube or TikTok or something else, and all they were seeing was probably stupid stuff, silly stuff, or violent stuff, whatever they gravitated towards. They weren't getting any. There was no right, there was no wrong. Everything was just there. If you want to do it, do it. That's it.
That thing you just brought up about right and wrong, it's very important. Basically, it's like a wokeism type of thing. I call it militant wokeism. Every opinion has equal weight. Everybody has a right to voice what they want to voice. Doesn't matter. There's no morals involved. Things that I'm not condemning a whole group of people. I'm just saying our experience with them and what I've seen with other people and their experience with them and all. My own experience was on various social media areas, YouTube, Discord server, which was a very unpleasant experience, and I won't go into that anymore. I'm no longer going to participate in that stuff anymore. From a academic perspective, it was kind of in a way funny, because in a way, if you want to call it funny, about 6 months ago when I decided to resurrect my Atheism Defended channel, which I renamed, I was involved in a lot of rigorous academic debates years ago on YouTube and other places, and I found a bunch of old videos I had, And one of them was on the when I developed the Kalam cosmological argument, known as the KCA, my own version of it. I took what was the formal arguments of it. Basically, it's a first cause argument for some kind of academic proof of a supreme being or non-proof. I came from the angle of no proof. And I basically I added things to the KCA that were never added, and it made a lot of common sense on how to argue this thing about an either-or situation. And the article I put together and the video I put together was commended by the non-theist society, and they actually put the video out elsewhere and all. So what I did was I just resurrected that. I had it in my files. And I wanted to test the viewership. I wanted to test the YouTube people out there, and just to see if this kind of stuff's still going on. So I put it out there. Now, I didn't make any changes to it. This thing was like, what, I think 10 years old, maybe longer. I didn't add anything. I assumed that the argument had been refined through the years and all. I didn't do any of that. I didn't go looking it up, or I just blankly put that out there just to see. Well, lo and behold, and I never... resurrecting a channel that's been dormant. You know, I got 900 and some views, almost 1,000 views. I got over 50 comments. Every one of those comments obviously came from Gen Z people. I said it because of the behavior, the commonality of it, the criticism of my arguments, and I could tell they were using Cliff Notes or Bing AI, or they weren't using any original thought. And he really went after me. I mean, he just, you know what I mean? In an academic, one person, I didn't know what I was talking about, blah, blah. You know, so that was my initial thing with Gen Z. I didn't know they were Gen Z. I just thought it was a bunch of young punks that did nerds and all, whatever. Yeah, Gen Z. My experience on Discord was a lot more unpleasant. People were tolerated. I seen on the server I was on, retired on dividends. I call it the cesspool. One guy came in, and he was in his 20s. He was actually preaching under the Everything and Anything site that they have there about it's okay for, I don't know, child molestation or being married to a kid or something sick. There are people there that witnessed it. One guy was hobo something. He would, if he had the balls to come up forward, he would attest to that. Another guy, Marty, the auto worker, who I was responsible for chasing off the site in a debate and all. They just called him disgusting and all. And I reported the guy to one person, a joke from Canada, supposedly moderator. He didn't do anything about it. His thing was everybody has a right to think whatever they want and all that stuff. So it's the kind of crap, you know. But this kid that did the shooting was Gen Z. And basically, I know the motive. I'm pretty sure they're going to look into his social media. He wanted to make his mark in history. That's all it was. Let me just make my mark in history. Well, he made his mark in history. I do believe from a personal standpoint, his parents should be arrested, particularly the father. The father had he had legal right to an AR-15, right? You can't tell me that father did not know there were problems with his kid. Being a parent myself and totally attuned to my kids, they should be arrested. I mean, they should be really checked out and all, but that's my view. But anyway, the elephant in the room was Gen Z, Generation Z, and I think that'll come out more and more. Thank you.